Greetings and bienvenue, Midnight Crew. Thank you for returning to this broadcast, and welcome to new viewers joining us for the first time. If you like a video, then feel free to subscribe.
Beamy 24 was homeless and living in New York City from ages 23 to 25. Fell on hard times, resorted to riding subway trains all night for sleep, panhandle and job hunt during the day. After about a year of doing this, I start feeling like I'm being watched during the day and nights. One night, hop on the train and take my seat. Me and two other obvious homeless fellas in the third car from the front. Acknowledge each other and strike up small convo before I lay my head to rest for the night. Eventually go to sleep. Wake up and check my watch, 4:33. Other fellas are not in the car, just me. I shrug and fall back asleep. Wake up again and check the watch, 4:43. Look around the train car, and only one other man sitting on the far end of the car. Will never forget what he looked like. Perfectly pressed black trench, white undershirt, black tie, fedora, tailored pants, and shiny dress shoes. Appeared to be in his early 30s, possibly 40s. Pampered brows, shaven face, combed black hair. This dude is staring me down with a 100-yard gaze, expressionless, just obviously gazing at me. Start returning the gaze to the man. Have a staring contest for a short minute before I get pissed and ask him why he's staring at me. Doesn't reply. I start to get up from my seat. As I do, this train suddenly stops and trips me back into a seat. Doors open and the man simply gets up and steps off the train. Watches me from the platform, continuing his gaze from before. See other homeless homies from other car get off the train and wander off. Wait, other car? I realize I'm in the fifth car from the front and I check the time. 7:12. What.give. Look up from the watch and the suited man is gone. Sit down in my original seat and ride the train all day thinking about the incident. A few months later, after the first incident, be in Harlem, around 12:45 p.m., wandering around asking for money and shit. See a $5 stuck in the sidewalk a little up from me. Oh yeah. Start going to it and I bend down to grab it. Grab hold of it and get upright again. Standing not 10 feet from me is him, the suited guy, just staring at me. Guy is so out of place in this part of town. Just standing in the middle of the sidewalk, motionless, staring at me. Get spooked but pissed at the same time. Start approaching the guy at a rather fast pace. As soon as I start moving, he moves away from me. Start following the guy, taunting him as I do so. You like being followed? That's right, keep walking. He turns into an alley and he breaks into a full-blown sprint. I run to catch up and turn the corner into the alley. Gone like a fart in the wind. Start moving into the alley. Grab a trash can lid as an impromptu weapon in case any weird shit. Start moving deeper into the alley and see some homies. Ask them about the suited guy. Didn't see anything. Huh. Keep moving through the alley before I come out the other side onto another street. Dark out. The fuck. Wander up the road and move into a random shop and ask the time. It's 9 o'clock. Leave the shop and look down the road to see him again, standing at the street corner just gazing at me again, before just turning and walking off into the night. Too scared to pursue. Time goes on again. A week later from the last incident. Had bought a shitty pocket knife from the store in case I ran into Mr. Bateman again. Was still in Harlem. I was gonna hang in there because I had landed job interview the next day. Figure I'll just chill in some alley till morning. Wandering around looking for a kinda safe spot to sleep. Starting to get late and still haven't found shelter. Find a spot under a fire escape under an apartment building. Start to relax so I can sleep. Sleep. Wake up around 3:30. Standing right over me is the suited man gazing down at me. I freak out and I go to grab my knife. I can't move. Stuck in place as this guy kneels down next to me. I asked him, "What do you want from me?" Blinks a few times before reaching into my coat, simply pulling the knife from my jacket. Fucker knew exactly what pocket I had it in, still freaking out and unable to move. He just sits there and stares at me, waiting for me to calm down. Eventually calm down. Guy just reaches his hand down and he pats my shoulder. Teleport.jpg. Not in Harlem, I'm just in Central Park and it's around 8 a.m. Sitting on a bench. My travel bag full of my shit is next to the bench. Can move, so I frantically begin rummaging through it. All my stuff is in place. Frantically look around with a confused expression. I start thinking I'm insane, and I'm just forgetting everything I do. I then pat myself down to find my wallet still on me. Open it to look for what little cash I have. There's not a little cash is inside. A large amount of cash. Thick stack of 100s is lining my wallet. Eyes go wide. I sit down on the bench and carefully count out the money. Exactly $5,000. Stuff it all back in my wallet. Look around to see if any thugs saw me counting my money. See some families doing family stuff in the park. When amongst them I see the suited man just staring at me. I stare back with an uneasy feeling before looking at my wallet. I look back up and he's gone. Years later, around 30 now, got my shit together and am married, trying for a kid but afraid my wife or I is infertile. Wife and I out and about, shopping and wandering. See him again in the middle of a store, just staring at me. Instead of worrying, I feel relieved slightly. Continues staring at me before walking off into the store. Weeks later, wife is pregnant. 9 months later, at the hospital, getting a drink for me and a snack for my wife. Get stuff and begin walking toward our room. Get there and I sit down with my wife and talk about some shit. The room is on the 7th floor. Look out of the window out at the street below. See him literally making eye contact with me from street level. I stare at him and just smile at him. He nods at me and returns a slight smirk before just walking off. Haven't seen him since. Was a strange entity, I guess, but it still is unclear to me why it bothered me. Does anyone know what it was, or am I just a functional schizo?
A group of Zoomer men came up to me in about 2022 and surrounded me. They threatened to mug me, but I handed them my vape and they started fighting over it. I ran away from them, but they followed me to a nearby McDonald's where they told me I was next. After the incident, I was fired from my job. My girl broke up with me. She said, "You know why?" When I asked why she was leaving me, my parents cut me off. After a few weeks, I had to sell most of my stuff and move out to a cheap share house. When I was selling my stuff, one of the Zoomers was there. He bought my favorite book, Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. He asked where I was moving to, and I told him a phony address. He laughed and corrected me. He knew where and when I was moving to the share house. He winked and told me to not lie to him or his friends again, or else I was shitting bricks. After moving into the shared house, I was nearly broke and homeless. I tried to get a job at a Wendy's. They wouldn't hire me. I tried applying at other places. I had to do my applications at a local library because I had no phone and no computer. At the library, some new men would approach me and tell me how unfortunate things were for me. They would mock me and tell me that my GF is now happy whoring herself for them. I nearly lost it, but was thrown out of the library. One of the Zoomers would station nearby my share house. I came up to him one day and asked what I needed to do for them to fuck off, and he acted like he never met me. It was so insulting to do that. He has spoken to me so many times now he was just pretending that I was insane. Whatever, I said. I didn't need to negotiate with these psychos. I needed to escape. During this time, my housemates made it impossible for me to get a full night's sleep. I was due to pay the little rent I owed, but I didn't want to. This wasn't my fault. I scrounge around and make enough money to get a Greyhound. I hid the money in my underwear. This would be great escape, like the famous movie. I would escape my tormentors. I would escape my increasing insanity and find peace in another city. I had to do a lot to get that money, but I was also worried the Zoomers would mug me again. I couldn't afford it. I snuck out at dusk and hid in the alleys around my town. I was dressed as a female. I was acting like a real homeless schizo now. The Zoomers tried to follow me. One of the housemates where I lived came out and spoke to the scout Zoomer. I could hear him say, "I don't know where Anon went." And I could hear the Zoomer say, "Shit, you idiot. This could get us killed." I snuck off and hid for many hours miles away from the share house. I had no phone, no electronics, makeup smeared on my face and wearing women's clothing. I was a mess, but I knew I was liberated. I snuck over to a local river and entered a sewer pipe. If this didn't kill me, I would be okay in here. I was right. I found a corner that I could sleep in and finally had some shut-eye. I woke up the next day. It was afternoon, I believe. Nobody was around me. I was safe. I stayed where I was until dusk, where I got out of the sewer and went back to the city center. I would wait for a Greyhound bus. It was a risk, but I had to make sure I could get to the bus station and be prepared to board in the evening. I encountered a few people along the way, perhaps not my stalkers or scouts, but annoyed people nonetheless. I waited in the bus station. An attendant was obviously scared of me, and I remembered to go into the restroom and change my clothes. I washed my face, gave myself a quick sponge bath, and changed my clothes to my normal set. I only had 2 minutes to board. When I came out, I got on the bus and hunkered down in the back. I looked out the window when my bus was taking off, and I could see some of the Zoomers in the station lobby. They were pushing people around. My ex-girlfriend was with them. She was one of them, but I was free. I was moving to a new city. I would sleep for most of the trip and contact an old friend who helped me stay with him while I got a job at a gas station conscience store. My life got a little better after that. The Zoomers were gone. My ex-girlfriend was gone. My parents never spoke to me again. I lost everything, but I gained total freedom from my trials and tribulations.
I suffered from constant sleep paralysis, old hag, or waking up from a nightmare to discover I was still dreaming my whole life until about 8 years ago. After doing some research and reaching out to others online, I learned the main cause is stress. I was at a very rough time in my life and was experiencing sleep paralysis almost daily. I was homeless, so crashing at various friends' places. I was failing school. I was abandoned by my family. I was broke, and most of all, I felt alone. I would sleep maybe 2 to 3 hours a night if lucky. I tried sleeping on my side to avoid paralysis, but eventually it happened then too. Then I would try sleeping on my stomach, only to end up on my back with sleep paralysis yet again. My most vivid episodes are as follows. The first one isn't sleep paralysis, but I feel I should share the closest I've come to an out-of-body experience or astral projection, whatever you want to call it. Laying on the couch watching Futurama on TV, extremely sleep-deprived and depressed, really thirsty. Sit up, start rubbing my eyes, look over to the pillow I was laying on. See myself still laying on the couch watching Futurama. Instantly have a mini heart attack. Feel the need to look out the window, get up and start walking, although it felt like I was maybe levitating a few inches off the ground. Look out the window. See maybe 8 what I can only describe as shadow people walking up the hill in the yard. It's bright out and I can see clearly despite it being the middle of the night. The sky is really weird, looking similar to Sovngarde in Skyrim. The shadow people are all talking, but it just sounds like being in a food court, in a mall, just overlapping conversations. Kind of freak out about the people, wake up in my body. The TV is exactly where it was when I saw the shadow people. I didn't lose any time. It was surreal. The TV consistently played throughout my dream. Now I say dream because I legitimately woke up and... Anyway, I legitimately woke up, and I had also watched the episode of the show that was playing, so I figured my mind created the show still playing off memory. Also a note, I got so accustomed to having paralysis, I would not even try to scream and wake up. Once I was aware of what was happening, I would just say, wow, again. Okay, let's get this over with, and just sort of try to fall asleep while being asleep. And I found thus helped me to wake up. Anyone else experience this? Anyway, on to actual paralysis episodes. Sleeping on a mattress on the floor at a friend's. It's about 10 a.m. Saturday. I'm on my side. Hear everyone upstairs walking around. They yell down to me, they're going out and will see me later. They leave, fall asleep again after about 20 minutes. Suddenly wake up terrified and I can't move. Hear the distinct sound of a young child, think 3 or 4 years old. I had a lot of siblings growing up much younger than me, so I know this exact sound well, like running up to me from behind. It stops right as it gets to my head. Starts again from really far away. Stops right as it gets to my head. The stomping is so loud when it gets close, it almost hurts my ears, over and over. Like someone running up to you and stopping to taunt you. This happens several times until I realize that it's just a paralysis dream, and I essentially ignore it until I wake up. This was the only time I heard physical noise relative to my nightmare. I've had countless episodes like this, sleeping on my back, wake up terrified, unable to move. A shadow of a person is sitting on my chest. I can't breathe. There is no sound, but I hear them laughing in my head. No face, but I know it's smiling at me. Starts choking me. Freaking out till I wake up. Also quite a few of these. Sleeping. Hear someone in my room. I can't move. I know someone's in here. They're standing flat against my wall, staring at me. A shadow with no face. It's just standing, not moving. I know it's the one doing this to me. I beg it to leave me alone. It never answers me. It just stands there watching me. I would try to fight and move and yell, and nothing ever happened. Eventually, after having this happen so many times, I would just tell myself to relax when it happens and give up, which would make the episode end quickly. I know when it happened around friends at sleepovers or with various girlfriends, they would tell me I was making a lot of noise. I will tell you, I would never wish this upon anyone. It is absolutely terrifying. I had changed many things which may or may not have been triggers for these episodes at the time. I used to drink a very large amount of alcohol almost daily, allow every single bad thing in my life affect me greatly. Why me? Poor me. My life sucks. I wish I would die. I was very angry at everyone. I was very depressed and stressed. Anxiety through the roof. Also, I will note that just thinking about paralysis and allowing yourself to fear it will make it occur more often. To anyone here suffering with this, just do your best to make your life better and misgay yourself feel better, and this will go away. I haven't had it in years, and the last time I had it, there was a few years of a gap the time before that. Good luck, friends.
I hardly dream when I go to bed. As far as I go back in my memory, whenever I dream, I forget about it. I just remember the feeling it leaves me with. If it's a nightmare, I wake up screaming or exhausted. About 5 years ago, try to remember my dreams or write them down. Manage to remember them. As soon as I try to write them down, they disappear out of my memory. Start getting massive déjà vu. My dreams are extremely detailed. Write them off as weird at first. As time moves on, I realize every dream I manage to remember happens sometime in the future. Always freaks me out. When I'm with people, I ask them to just stop talking in the middle of their sentences or switch subjects because it freaks me out knowing what happens afterwards. I met my now ex-girlfriend in a dream before I met her in real life. I dreamed about me moving to England and then back to my hometown. I dreamed about getting a call that my grandfather has died on my graduation ceremony. I dreamed about my friend breaking his ankle while trying to do a jumping high five. All dreams I remember come true at some point. Except for one. One of the first ones I dreamed about. Me walking home late at night. Walk on the street because nobody's around. Tall guy in a checkered shirt on the left side of the road starts walking toward me. Walk far right in an attempt to walk past him. He moves towards me. I try to run away. He grabs me. I try to wrestle out of his grip, but he stabs me with something in my right side. I was 16 when I dreamed of this. Woke up screaming and developed insomnia after this. Walking home late at night scares me shitless now. Started walking a different way home, which takes 10 minutes longer. I fear the day where I'm too tired and walk home the short way.
Despite my family's long history with weird and paranormal shit, most stories aren't really long enough to tell. But I think this one is all right. Not mind-blowing or anything, but fine. Great-grandma is rumored to be a witch. I don't think anyone actually saw her do any witch thing, but everyone just takes it as a fact. Of course, everyone got scared when my grandparents got divorced. All of my uncles and my dad went to live with their mother. Poor, so they live in the shittiest part of town. Lots of junkies, alcoholics, etc. They don't even have water inside their house. They have to fill buckets using a faucet on the street. One night, one of my uncles gets up for a glass of water. No water left in buckets. He has to go outside. A friend of his also came for water. They start chatting about random shit. Suddenly, they hear a loud noise, like a huge bird flapping its wings really fast. Something crashes on a nearby tree. They look up and see it. It's a deformed bird with dark gray feathers. It's bald on some spots with wrinkly skin. And worst of all, it has a human face. The thing looks at them and starts laughing hysterically. They both lose their shit and run home. Don't see it ever again. Fast forward some years. Grandma moved to a better house. All of my uncles have their own families and have since moved out, except one. He still lived in their old house. Out of all my conspiracy nutjob relatives, he is by far the worst. Even the rest of my paranormal-obsessed uncles make fun of him. He spent like 10 years living as a hermit until he met his wife. Great-grandma is long dead. One day, crazy uncle is walking down the street late at night. He meets up with a coworker and they start talking. They hear a loud noise, like a huge bird flapping its wings really fast. They both look up and see a large silhouette in the sky. Uncle goes home and his wife tells him she saw something crash on the large tree outside their house. He goes outside but doesn't find anything. Some years later, a cousin of theirs is coming to town. He was a mess, had problems with drugs, was homeless for a while, went to prison for possessing meth or some shit, etc. My dad isn't really thrilled about him coming, but his brothers are more accepting of him. The day he arrives, he gives Grandma a tight hug and rubs her back. My grandpa's family used to talk a lot of shit about her, so everyone is surprised by how loving their cousin is being. Cousin stays for a couple of weeks without incident, before gives another tight hug to Grandma and rubs her back. A couple of months later, Grandpa dies. Dad and his brothers go to his funeral. Says he got some real weird vibes from his family. Almost at the same time, Grandma gets sick. Her kidneys stop working. Liquid starts leaking into her right lung. Says it hurts on the exact same spot Dad's cousin rubbed her back. She died 5 months later. Uncles spend the night at a funeral home. In the middle of the night, Dad hears a huge bird flapping its wings really fast. He is the most skeptic out of the brothers, so he doesn't pay it any attention. I'm staying with my mom's parents for the night. Smash for Wii U just came out, so my other grandma bought it to cheer me up. I stay up until like 1 a.m. playing. When I start to doze off, something crashes on a tree. I run up to the window and see something hanging from a palm on the other side of the street. I can't see its face, but I think it saw mine, because it stood still for a while and then flew off. I still look at trees on my street for weird birds. This story has become just another one of many anecdotes inside my family, but for some reason it's the one that stuck the most with me.
This occurred about 6 years ago and I wanted to share my experience. I work for a large tech company and they let us off early one day. I was happy to have some extra time to do some errands before going home for the holiday. I stopped by the gas station I often frequent, which is by the bar I used to work at and also often frequent, and grabbed some Smokes gas. As I pull out and approach the four-way stop, I suddenly notice a homeless man who is pushing his full shopping cart up the road perpendicular to me. He is slowing down, in the middle of the road, mind you, struggling to keep his stuff in the cart. On top of the cart is a black acoustic guitar. This person eventually appears to give up and just sits down in the middle of the road, legs crossed and shoulders slumped over like he's given up. Keep in mind, still very much in the middle of the road and impeding traffic. I live in a big city. At this point, cars are starting to stack up at most of the stop signs. I throw my hazards on and get out of the car. I'm approaching this person from behind, so I call out, "Hey man, are you okay?" No reply. I get closer and I place my hand on his shoulder and say, "Hey, let me help you up." This person stands to his feet and he must have been at least 6'6", super tall. And when he turned around, I saw the biggest, bluest eyes I have ever seen in my life. "Are you okay?" I asked him again, and this time he replied, "I've just been looking for her out here. I work across the street." I blink a couple times and say, "No worries, we'll find her. Let's get you out of the road." I then start pushing his cart when I notice the black guitar is really nice. Like I'm a musician and thought it was a nice guitar. Strange it would be in such pristine condition with this guy. Maybe it was stolen. I'm approaching this person from behind, so I call out, "Hey man, are you okay?" No reply. I get closer and I place my hand on his shoulder and say, "Hey, let me help you up." This person stands to his feet and he must have been at least 6'6", super tall. And when he turned around, I saw the biggest, bluest eyes I have ever seen in my life. "Are you okay?" I asked him again, and this time he replied, "I've just been looking for her out here. I work across the street." I blink a couple times and say, "No worries, we'll find her. Let's get you out of the road." I then start pushing his cart when I notice the black guitar is really nice. Like I'm a musician and thought it was a nice guitar. Strange it would be in such pristine condition with this guy. Maybe it was stolen. So there we were standing on the corner and he noticed my lit cigarette. Asked me for one, and I give it to him. Then he says he needs to make a phone call. I ask him for the numbers and say I'm happy to call someone for him. He gives me the number, I dial it, but it doesn't work. This number is not connected. I ask him if he has another number and he says, "Oh, there she is," and grabs his cart of stuff, thanking me for my help. I say no problem and get back in my car. My back was turned for maybe 20 seconds while I got in my car. The guy was gone. He was going in a very specific direction, and he was nowhere in sight. One woman was unloading a car in the direction he was going, so I pulled up to her and asked if she had seen anyone matching his description: cart, guitar, blue eyes. She said she hadn't seen anyone like that. Shrugging the whole thing off, I pull up to the next stoplight and look to my left when I realize where it is he said he worked. It was a church. I'm not really religious, but I don't have an explanation for this. He was nowhere in sight, no places he could have ducked into. He was just gone. I don't have any other theory, just that maybe angels do walk among us from time to time. Maybe I passed a test, I don't know.
Work at a fast food place. Boss hires some new guy, in his 30s, pretty average, quiet and polite. They had me closing with him several nights out of the week. Always noticed he would sit in the parking lot in his car until I left. Several weeks later, I realize why. He tells me he's homeless. His wife cheated on him and managed to screw him. I don't know specifics, but she kept the house and he was living in his car. So basically, he's homeless, trying to just get back on his feet. Then one day, he doesn't come in, missing for 4 days. Then randomly shows back up with one side of his face totally fucked up. Says his car was broken into while he was asleep. The person beat the shit out of him, stole a bunch of his shit and took off. Instead of going to the hospital, he just recovered by sleeping as much as he could and drinking tons of water. Says he's fine to work again and my boss puts him on the schedule. A few nights later, he doesn't come in again. A month passes and we figure the dude just move on. But one night, just before leaving work, I see him. He's standing outside looking into the store. I'm right in the middle of something and we're already closed, so I ignore him and go about my business. Finish up and go outside and lock up. The dude's gone by then. Oh well. A week later, this different guy comes in saying he was the homeless dude's friend. The guy died a month back from his injuries. Some type of head trauma, not sure what it was. Realized that I saw the dude's fucking ghost outside the store. Proceed to spook my pants.
The first night I was homeless, I had 5 bags filled with clothes and items. A typical problem for those who first hit the street. When night came, I approached the first big group I saw outside the shelter. I bought a 15-pack of beer, approached them, and asked if I could hang out. Of course, they said yes. So I'm sharing beers, getting drunk. Then I go to look at the bags I set down. They are all gone. I stop the conversation and go, guys, all my shit is gone. Anybody see anything? Everyone said they didn't see anything. So now I'm drinking with a random group and all shit is just gone. I get mad. I start walking around the shelter areas looking for my bags. I'm drunk. I'm mean. Nobody has my shit, so I get madder. Then one drunk native dude says, "I took your fucking bags just trying to be the good guy and settle me down." But when he said that to me, I beat the shit out of him. Blood everywhere. After he was out, I looked and he didn't even have my bags. And now everyone is yelling at me, so I ran. I slept in alleys for a week before I was ready to go back to the area to line up. I gained a reputation of somebody not to be fucked with, but it also made me lonely. Nobody trusted me. It took me months of goodwill to gain back the street's trust.
I hope that you enjoyed tonight's broadcast. If you enjoyed tonight's story, then please subscribe to the channel as more Greentext will appear daily. A new broadcast will appear when the clock strikes midnight Central Time.